Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and in this one I am sharing some of Dina's latest release and how I've used them. So I was this one didn't quite go as I thought it was going to, but I was going to create a little book and I was going to make it like a Jacob's Ladder book, but actually, geez, it was harder than I anticipated. So I've started off using some of my my own collage papers from Funky Fossil, and I'm cutting some squares that are 15 by 15 centimetres, and then you can see I'm just folding the two pieces into the centre. I haven't measured or anything, I'm just kind of guessing this really, and then again folded the two into the centre. So I've created how many pieces did I have? Let me just have a look at the little book. So I had 10 in total. So once you've folded all your little pieces like this, then you can slot them together to create a really sturdy page. So I don't really go into much detail in this video about how I've created this little book when it comes to binding it. Because there are loads of tutorials out there on how you can bind little loose leaf page books together. So you can see I'm just slotting those together. It's a little bit fiddly, but all of a sudden it'll slot into place. And then you've got a double-sided page. So I made all of the pages, and then once I was happy with them all and the size and they were all slotted together, I'm then going in with the new neon pink paint. This one's called Stoked. They've got fabulous 80s theme names, and they are quite translucent, as you can see. They're not as opaque as the heavy body acrylics. That means you can use them in lots of ways, really. They layer really nicely over the colours. And using them just on their own like this, you can create a lovely effect where you can still see the background through, but they don't mask as much as the heavy body paints can do. So I'm just going in and just roughly adding a little bit of pink onto of the Stoked onto the front and back of my little pages that I have created. So I'm just roughly spreading that around. Then I did give them a really good dry just to make sure that they were ready for the next layer. So then Dina's also brought out a couple of circular stencils. So this one is called Coasters 1. And this is like a grid, I guess, really. So I'm just going in here with some carnation and adding some stenciling over the top of the pink. This is quite nice because it kind of pushes that pink into the background, but it's still peeping through between the stenciling, creating a really lovely effect. I've had so much fun playing with these neon paints, and you guys are going to love them. It's fabulous how they layer together. So this blue that you can see is called Legit. And as you can see, this is really translucent as well. So it looks really bright when it's on the white paper up in that right hand corner, but as you stencil it, you can see that it's really sheer. This purple is called Bodacious. And again, I am using Coasters 2, the other round stencil that Dina's released, with Bodacious. Again, you can see it's quite translucent. It creates a lovely sheer effect. I also spent a bit of time mixing these three colours together, and you can create some wonderful lilacs and purples. So it's worth having a bit of a play when you do get them and just seeing how they mix together. So I'm just spending a bit of time layering up the colours and the stenciling and just creating some depth on these pages, playing with the stencils as well. These little circular ones are great fun. So then I am using the lattice stencil with some of the heavy body white paint, and I am just going in and pushing away some of those backgrounds. I just love how you can still see the colours and the patterns peeping through all these layers. So even though this paint is like, it's sort of like the second or third layer on some of these pieces, but because the neons are so translucent, you can still see all that interest underneath. So now I have bound this book together, and I did use a kind of tab method where you stick little tabs into between the pages to stick them together. Now I know that Birgit Koopson has a video on how to do this, so if you want to find that, that's on her, you can find a link to that on her Instagram. But because these pages were created by slotting two together, you can actually hide the tabs inside the pages, so it works really nicely. Yeah, so now I am going to fill this little book. So I'm using Dina's transparencies to do this, and you can see I'm just cutting them to size, making sure that they are going to fit. And I'm still left with plenty of space on my pages, so I really didn't want to overfill these too much. So I'm going in and adding some images first, and anywhere where I feel the background's a little bit busy and it's going to detract from the image on the transparency, I'm just going in and just adding a little bit more white paint over the top. And to stick these transparencies in, I'm using Dina's heavy body matte medium, so you can see, not heavy body, what's it called? Oh, I can't remember. Heavy body, ultra thick. Oh, I knew it was something like that. Get it right in the end. Ultra thick gel medium to stick the transparencies in place. It works perfectly as any other gel medium would, I'm pretty sure. It dries clear, and so you don't have the problem of it making these transparencies cloudy at all. So I'm cutting these down, sticking them in place, and I got to about here and then decided that I wanted to add some stamped images in here as well. So I'm really going to go in with an image, and then I'm going to use some of the ledger paper quotes, and I'm also going to use some of the new collage paper on the pages too, just to add a little bit of interest, a bit more pattern on there. So here I'm using some stamped images from the circled stamp set, and with archival ink, just stamping those onto some white card, and then I will cut them out and use those on the next couple of pages. I also forgot to say that I used some of Dina's sticky back media tape to bind the spine of this little book, and I also used the paints and stencils on that too. But I cut that bit out because otherwise this video would have been about half an hour long. I'm sure none of you have got time to sit and watch one that's that long. So if I have time, I will find the clip where I bind the book and show you how I did that for anybody that's interested, and perhaps add that onto my channel so that you can see that too. But I have to be upfront and say it's not my technique at all, but it's one that works really, really well with the way these pages were created. So I've got my images cut out, and then I'm going to stick those in place too. And here I am just going in with the brand new collage paper. This is called Grids, and it is what it says. It's just lots of pages with different styles of grids on. Some look like they've just been lifted from maths books, and you've got like XY grids and all sorts. So these are quite nice just for adding some extra pattern and depth to your page. Don't forget the collage papers are perfect for tinting, and you could tint them using these neon paints. I think that would be a really cool thing to do. So yeah, it's fun to play with all this stuff. I think you guys are going to absolutely love it when you get your hands on it. So here I'm just sticking the collage paper in place using Dina's ultra thick gel medium. Got it right this time. And then I've just added that stamped image in place. Give those pages a quick dry, and then go in with the next page and stick some more of the grid collage paper down. So you can see it comes in different sizes. There's very, very teeny tiny little grids, and there's larger ones. And all of them are looking really cool on these pages. And I love the fact that you can still see from the neon paints, you can still see that pink. I think out of the three, the pink is definitely my favourite. Out of the three that I got sent from Ranger, the pink's my favourite one. It's so bold, and even with other layers you can still see it peeping through. So I will be posting a new video each day for the next few days, just sharing how I've used these products that Ranger sent me. Yeah, so watch out for those. I've tried to use them in different ways to show, you know, how versatile they are as well. So here I'm going in with some of Dina's typed ledger papers, and I'm just selecting quotes that speak to me really. I didn't really have a set idea before I started, and I'm just chopping them up and adding them onto my pages. And so really all these pages have got is a focal point of some sort of face, either from the transparencies or a stamped image, a quote, and a little bit of collage paper on top of all the stenciled layers that are underneath. And you can see that I think that without adding anything else, because I already felt they were quite busy and I didn't want to overdo it. So I'm just sticking these quotes in place using my little fine tip applicator bottle and some clear glue, and just arranging them where I want them to be. Then I stapled a little bit of ribbon onto the back here, the back page, and I'm just going to use that as my closure, so that just gets wound round the book just to keep it shut. And then often when I put faces or figures onto my journal pages, I do like to add a heart, and without going overboard here, I've just cut out some teeny tiny little hearts which I have stuck onto the page as well, just one on each page, just so that's like a little theme that runs through this tiny book. The book ended up being, let me just see how big it was when it was complete. It was 3 inches square. So like I say, I'll try and find time to edit the video where I actually put it together so that you can see how easy it was, if this is something you'd like to have a go at. So this was the first thing that I created with Dina's latest release. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video and have found some inspiration here, and I hope it's kind of shown you how lovely these neon paints are to play with. So translucent and so pretty, and they do work really nicely together. I cannot wait to get my hands on the other ones as well, and play with those and layer those over the other colours as well. So here's a little flip through of the tiny book when it was finished. Yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this and just using these new goodies from Dina. Keep watching out for more videos sharing more of the things that I've created using her latest release. Thanks for watching. I hope you found some inspiration, and until next time, I'll see you again soon.